Hi, everyone. This is Sherry Rice Smith of EFTforchristians.com. Remember that if you have any emotional or medical issues, please, EFT is not a substitute for that. You need to see your own personal physician. All right, tonight what I want to talk about is perception is everything in EFT. I do have some notes here, so if I look down at them, I want to make sure I give you everything I wanted to talk about tonight. So, when I'm in Milwaukee in class, I often say this statement that in EFT, the truth is irrelevant. Now, that probably sounds kind of hokey to any of you Christians here in the group because obviously, uh, you know, it would sound like I'm lying, and lies are in a direct violation of the seventh commandment. But in EFT, our truth is rarely our truth. What it is all perception of how we interpreted something else that was going on around us. So, and what often goes on is that perception is then what runs our life. And so, how in the world does that actually happen? Well, it happens on a cellular level. Um, let's say my example could be when you're building a house foundation, let's say with cement blocks. Um, you raise that basement block upon layer of block upon layer of blocks. And our interpretation and perception of life as an infant tends to be very much similar to that. We Something happens around us that might involve some type of sensory input, a sight, a sound, a touch, a look, anything that has to do with our five senses. And also, you probably can add our whole sympathetic nervous system too, and our parasympathetic, and that kind of gets mixed in there, that socialization factor. We interpret it incorrectly. Now, someone can say something to us, and this has happened to you in the past, that they'll come back and say, well, that's not what I meant. Well, often these perceptions are exactly that. Someone says something, we pick that up a message that was not intended to be that way. And then we build those blocks up, one block upon block upon block, based on the perception. And how that happens is our amygdala, which again is the little almond-shaped structure in the back of it's kind of in the lower part of our brain. It's always scanning our environment to keep us safe. So it's always looking for something dangerous so that, we can be warned and take off or fight our way out of it. That fight and flight mechanism. And then it sends those signals again to the hippocampus. That's a little seahorse-shaped organism in the back of our head that interprets the signals. So often what happens is the hippocampus starts this filing cabinet. Now, obviously, none of this is like a real filing cabinet, but it starts a file cabinet of all the perceptions and all of the things that have happened to us. And it goes through that file cabinet real fast in nanoseconds, looking to find what this new signal looks like. Therefore, it can say, oh, it's like what happened 4 days ago. And yes, that's dangerous. You better run away. And then it starts that physiological stress reaction so that we can run away. Or it looks at it and goes, nah, that's no big deal. That was just, that was just your little brother shaking the crib in the other room. It's no big deal. You don't have to be afraid of it. So if it's a negative, dangerous thing where something, regrettable happens to us, we get burned, we get paddled, someone says something nasty to us, someone slaps us, we fall down a flight of stairs. It can be anything. When a sound or something sensory sounds like that, the hippocampus goes, oh gosh, goodness, it's, something bad again. And then what do? You continue to build the foundational blocks based on that piece of sensory input that eventually becomes the triggers that later, as an adult, send you into behaviors that you don't understand and behaviors that you don't want. But what the foundational blocks aren't really, cement blocks. You're building neural pathways, and you grow these neural pathways, bundle, and we also call them neural bundles, one by one, based on experiences, and those get hardened and encoded into your brain structure and actually literally to within the cells of your body. And again, we never quite know where our subconscious puts it. It just puts it wherever it wants, and this is done by repetition. It's no different than the way you learn what's the color blue, and then you ask, the 2-year-old asks mom again, what color is this? Blue. What color is this? Blue. You do the same thing with experiences until it's wired, literally hardwired into your brain. So what happens at that point? A belief is born, and then we go through life expecting that same type of reaction from all the people around us. So that can be, it can be rejection itself. It can be abandonment. We can feel unloved. We can feel uncared for. We can feel ignored. We run our life full of negativities that we see everything through a filter of it's all bad. And we all know people like that. They never, ever have a good thing to say about anything. And it's all built via those neural pathways. And in reality, your beliefs become your reality. It's how it is. A lot of this is the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton, but a lot of this is also scriptural. Proverbs 23:7 talks about what you think in your heart is what you are. Now, that's not a direct quote, but that's my version of it. And we know our heart is the seat of who we really are. I mean, the Bible has hundreds and hundreds of verses that discusses the state of our heart. And we know that the heart math has done this research that our heart emanates 5,000 times the amount of energy than our brain does. So our heart is huge. Proverbs 18:21 talks about we have the power of life and death within our tongue. I've heard preachers even say that your tongue is speaking prophecy about yourself into the future. So whenever you spew negativity about, oh, I hate that, or I don't like this, or I hate that person, or I hate myself, and I tap while I say that, you're just hardening and encoding all of those beliefs that were built foundation block upon neural pathway upon foundation block into your own self. You're hardening. And most of this is triggered in childhood, and a lot of it's our caregivers. And I don't know that all of them or many of them or some of them even expect that our reactions are this, or they don't expect us to learn that. But again, if your mother has traits that you have, you learn them from her. If your grandmother had traits, you learn those from her, and you're basically doomed to repeat them until you apply some energy modality like EFT. So how does this get fixed? First off, if you have heavy duty trauma, you have to hire a practitioner. It is not something that you're personally going to probably be able to tap on. If you get a practitioner and do however many sessions that takes to get to the core issues of like I'm unloved, I'm unlovable, I feel abandonment, you get those issues pulled out of the way, and then you can use tapping just for your daily maintenance and to keep yourself on on emotional even keel. And how we do the tapping is we go back and we find the feeling in our body, the body sensations, any memories or events that underpin that learned perception of whatever that core issue is, and we tear those memories or sensations apart. The sensations are probably easier to do because you don't have to get them into the emotional component of it. But the memories and the events, you figure out what you feel and where you feel it, and you take those stories apart so that you no longer have any emotional attachment to that story. And what tapping does is it breaks down those neural connections. They're emotional connections. You're emotionally connected to those old stories that now run your life, and they have really nothing to do with your life today. Core beliefs are who we think we are. And EFT is a fantastic tool to break down those memories and those events and become what God intended and wants you to be. He has a job for you in this life. You're not just here to be a blob or just be whatever it is that you feel you just are. He has a very specific job for you, and EFT can help you get there. I was reading a book, The Brain That Wires Itself, and it was Dr. Norman Doidge, Doidge, and I thought this was kind of interesting. Donald Hebb's always said neurons that fire together wire together, but apparently there are a couple other pieces to that, that neurons that fire apart wire apart, and neurons that don't sync fail to link. And I think those are fun little cliches that show that we take those connections from those early beliefs and we wire them together in our head, and then they become our reality. But if we tap, we wire them apart, we break them down, and they no longer have any hold over us. We shine the light of Christ on it, and they're gone. They don't have to need to run our life. I hope this is helpful to you. Again, email me at eftforchristians@gmail.com. And if you have an idea for a video, please do that. On my website, I have a resource page. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there you can access and for reading, and hopefully it will help you if you're a real avid reader, especially if you're a medical professional and you really, really want to dig deep into the physiology of how EFT works. Email me. I have a reading list for you that will keep you out of trouble and away from the television for quite a few evenings, probably months. All right. God bless. Take care. Thank you for listening. And I hope to see you in Milwaukee at one of my classes one of these days. Take care. Bye-bye.